I would take this opportunity to welcome and recognize some of the distinguished guests here. Jennifer Ghosh, the Club Growth Director.
DTM Vinay Jain, the District Finance Manager.
Punita Singh, District Parliamentarian.
Mukesh Thakur, the DCP Chair.
Sandeep Raturi, Program Quality Director.
Division A Director Prashant Goyal.
Division B Director Hani Khanduja.
Division C Director Dr. Imtiaz Ali.
Division F Director Nimish Joseph.
And Piyush Agarwal, Division D Division Director.
We also welcome all the area directors who've taken out time and come here today. Thank you so much.
One after the other, there have been items and wow, an ITM. Isn't that the ideal kind of situation with so many district officers and almost close to 200 Toastmasters themselves? What better could it be than having an ideal Toastmasters meeting? Isn't it?
Yes.
So we have one of the most eligible bachelors in the current district officers, a research scholar at IIT Delhi working in the area of social media analytics and information propagation. He has been associated with the National Digital Literacy Mission, pardon me. A publisher of numerous research articles and recipient of Digital India Awards. A software engineer by profession, currently serving as the Division F Director. Please put your hands together for the Sergeant at Arms of the Ideal Toastmasters meeting, Nimish Joseph.
Good morning, Toastmasters and dear guests.
Good morning.
I am Nimish Joseph. I am the Sergeant at Arms for the day. Let me now recite the mission of Toastmasters Club. We provide a supportive and positive learning experience where members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Here are a few housekeeping rules for the day. I request everyone to put your mobile phones either in switch off mode or silent mode. You have 10 seconds of your time to verify. Please do. Kindly refrain from talking anything that may hurt the sentiments of others. I request every one of you sitting in this room to ensure that you avoid crosstalks or any other activity while a speaker is performing some activity on the stage. I request anybody or everybody who's entering the stage or exiting the stage to do so with a handshake. And finally, please applaud energetically and enthusiastically for all our speakers. It's now time for me to welcome the presiding officer for the day. 2 times area director, 2 times distinguished Toastmaster, and a soft skill trainer by profession. A successful president. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the president of Blue Quest Toastmasters, distinguished Toastmaster Saurindra Bombay.
Hello. Before I start, I just wanted to
thank all of you to be here. And I would also take a personal credit, and that is the lady here, Shinjini. I was the one who got her into Toastmasters. I also take the credit for saying that I was the first person in whose home, in my son's bedroom, the first time this movie Exlia was shown. So I am a lucky star, even though she doesn't acknowledge it at this point of time, but she does it personally. But then, the point which I was trying to make is, the I factor cannot be considered. Today, if we are here, where all of us are here because all the Toastmasters are together. And that, I think, is the cornerstone of Toastmasters. A year back, as an area director, I was in Area A. But at that time, we had the area director, the division director for Director B, who had to become the de facto division director for our division, because our division director unfortunately had to move out because of his employment to Bombay. And at that time, I realized the potential and the power of this gentleman, Mukesh Thakur. Mukesh took over, I think, 8 areas, where we had approximately 16 clubs, which grew to about 28 clubs at the end of it. And that is when I realized that singularly you can never be powerful. You can be really strong when you're all together. And my urge today to all of you, Toastmasters, is please, please go to other clubs, spend time with them, try to have joint meetings, because what you learn in these meetings is far, far more than what you can do if you're doing it within your clubs. It's my personal request, and I've seen this happen, and I can tell you what you learn from other clubs and their practices, and when you incorporate that into your own club, clubs will change. And I have only one request to all the clubs which have not already selected the EC. Please look at the woman member in your club to be a part of your EC. Your club will change. Experience. We did it in IBM Bluequest, and the club just hit the ceiling. Thank you for being with us. Thank you very much. I now have the pleasure of inviting you to listen to the Toastmaster of the Day, a powerhouse by himself, a DTM who did it just flying through it, a person who commits himself to what he does. And I say he's a powerhouse because not only does his physique say so, but he really is a part of that. I have great pleasure on inviting on stage my very close friend, Rupinder Singh. Rupinder Singh.
Good morning, Toastmasters.
Good morning.
And guests. Guests, come on, say good morning.
Good morning.
We have very few guests today. Now, in a traditional Toastmasters meeting, I would begin, the presiding officer would begin by introducing the guests. But then, this is not a traditional Toastmasters meeting. This is a special Toastmasters meeting. Powerhouse, huh? Shaurendra sir called me a powerhouse. Thank you, sir. Let me see how much of a powerhouse I am. How many sit-ups do you think I can do? Prashant says 1. I say 10. 500, I'll be here all day. And you'll see me doing only sit-ups. So let me see if I can do 10. I committed to doing 10 and I have done 10. Commitment, as they say, is what builds a man's character. And today I decided, what better thing to have as a theme for the Toastmasters than values. Commitment is just one of the many values you can demonstrate. What are values? Values are those that you stand for, something that you will never compromise on. Values are there to show you the way. How many of you can tell me what are the 4 core values of Toastmasters International? A lot of you. Let's recite one after the other. The first one is integrity. The second one is respect, service, and excellence. Now, you would think, why not call it respect, integrity, service, excellence? The answer is that Toastmasters places integrity above everything else. And someone who resonates with these thoughts is the person that I'm going to invite on stage. But before I do that, let me tell you how this Toastmasters meeting will go. There will be a prepared speeches section where we've got the best of the speakers. He is the district humorous speaking champion who will be evaluated by the district evaluation champion. So that will be the prepared speeches section. We have a DTM conducting the table topic session, whom I will introduce later in the meeting. And finally, the most important part. I often muddle up this phrase. Let me see if I get it right. Feedback is the breakfast of champions. You know how I muddle it up? Breakfast is the feedback of champions. I suppose looking at my size, you could say that, yeah, you would obviously start with breakfast. Why not? But the person that I'm going to call on stage absolutely resonates with the values of Toastmasters International, which is integrity, respect, service, excellence. She is a person who puts integrity above everything else. She is a 2-time distinguished Toastmaster. She is a past district governor. She is currently the district parliamentarian. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my absolute pleasure to call on stage none other than DTM Punita Singh. Let's have a huge applause. DTM Punita Singh, General Evaluator.
General Evaluator always makes me feel like an army recruit. But there's nothing very militant about what we do here as Toastmasters. This is a mutually supportive environment where everyone is receptive to feedback. Unlike in stressful situations in the corporate world or in other worlds where when it's the time for those annual reviews, there's so much trepidation. But I think that one thing that Toastmasters really empowers us to do is to receive feedback in an open way, knowing that whoever is giving it is doing it for our benefit. That receiving that feedback is the critical thing that will help us learn and grow and improve and get even better and better than we already are. So part of that giving of that feedback is also to let us know what we do well. Because there's lots of things we do well. And those little things that we can do better. So the evaluation session that happens in every Toastmasters meeting is led by someone called the General Evaluator. And the General Evaluator has a team of supplementary evaluators. For every speech that's presented at Toastmasters, there is a dedicated speech evaluator. So today we have one speech being delivered by a champion speaker, being evaluated by a champion evaluator. The champion evaluator is Anusha Khurana. I think she's here already. Yeah. So Anusha will present her evaluation at the designated time after she's heard the speech, which will be delivered by Vineet Maurya, our humorous champion. In addition to the dedicated speech evaluation, we also have a table topics impromptu speaking session, and very often we also evaluate those in an impromptu way, so that's another challenge. And in addition to these kinds of evaluations which address the speaking that actually happened here, we also have other dimensions that we give feedback on. How was your time management today? We have a timer to do that. How was your grammar today? Did you fumble? Did you stumble? We have a grammarian to give us feedback on our language. Did you pause at the wrong places? Did you hesitate? Did you go, did you use a lot of unnecessary filler words? We have an R counter who gives us feedback on that. So we affectionately call this trio of evaluators the tag team. The timer, the R counter, and the grammarian. The timer today, is it Jennifer? I see the timing cards with Raj Mehta. Okay, yes, we have two sets of timing cards. So our timer today is Jennifer Ghosh. Would you like to talk about your role?
Thank you. A very good morning to all of you. Good morning. Well, I'm the timer today, and my role for the day is to keep time for every speaker who comes on the stage. We have only one prepared speaker and we have one evaluator. So for the prepared speaker, the time is 5 to 7 minutes. So I will show the green card at the 5th minute. I will show the amber card at the 6th minute. And I will show the red card at the 7th minute. And I will keep the red card flashing till the speaker completes his speech. Then we have the evaluation section, wherein the timing for the evaluation section is 2 to 3 minutes. So I will show the green card at 2 minutes, the amber card at 2.5 minutes, and the red card at 3 minutes. And I'll keep the red card flashing till the timer or the evaluator completes her evaluation. Similarly, we also have table topics, which are 1 to 2 minutes. So I will show the green card at 1 minute, the amber card at 1.5 minutes, and the red card at 2 minutes. And I'll keep the red card flashing till the speaker finishes his or her speech. Thank you. All the best to everyone.
That was about the timer's role. The R counter role, which is really a very intriguing role at Toastmasters, is being played today by Division Director Hani Khanduja. Hani, can you tell us about it?
Thank you, General Evaluator. So as what our General Evaluator pointed before, that the R counter's role is to keep a tab on So to broadly classify it, our counter's role is to keep a note and report the words and sounds which are used as crutches and fillers in your speeches. So the words can be the repetition word or the filler word that you plan to or you unintentionally fill your speeches with, and the sounds can be r's, and pauses where you keep silent can be a short pause, typically less than 3 seconds, and a long pause, typically greater than 3 seconds. So I'll be keeping a tab of your r's, fillers, and pauses. I wish you all the very best for this wonderful meeting. Over to General Evaluator.
Thank you, Hani. And for language feedback, we have our grammarian, our PQD, Sandeep Rathi.
It's Sandeepu again. Okay, I'll be playing the role of the grammarian, and if I have to give you an analogy, I would say that grammar is like the backbone of the body. So with a weak backbone, we can still walk. but probably we can't walk confidently, we can't run. So with a good grammar, you can increase your credibility as a speaker. So as a grammarian, my responsibility is to keep a note of all the good phrases, of all the good words that the speaker will be using. And in addition to that, I would also be making a note of all the errors that the speakers may be making inadvertently. And I would also try to give you the right usage of those words and sentences. And with that, I would also like to give you the word of the day. The word of the day today is aplomb. Aplomb, I've seen a lot of evaluators have been using these words. I hope that we also see these words being used by others. And aplomb is poise, self-assurance. It is basically self-confidence and assurance, especially in a demanding way. So if a speaker has spoken really well, you say that the speaker spoke with aplomb. The important thing to note here is that B is silent. We only say aplomb. It's like the B in plumber, because we end up saying plumber is here to work on the tap. It's plumber. Similarly, it's only aplomb. And it is mostly, or I would say almost always used with the word with. So if somebody like Dr. Punita Singh has spoken, so you don't just say that she spoke with aplomb, because that would be stating the obvious. Then you can probably say she spoke with the customary aplomb. So there's nice ways how we can add words. He spoke with great aplomb, he spoke with customary aplomb. So these kind of words can be added to make it even more effective. I really hope that many of you will be using this word today, and I will be back with my report during the evaluation session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Evaluator. What a nice word he's given us to share today. So I encourage everyone to use that word. And I'm sure you've already made notes in your grammarian's log of the lovely sentence that our Toastmaster of the day gave us, that breakfast is the feedback of childcare. And whoever twisted it around was evidently dyslexic.
Thank you. Well, that was done with aplomb, wasn't it? So one of the rules about the word of the day is that every time somebody says it, we respond with a thumbs up, right? So as not to disturb the speaker on stage. Now I was talking about values. When do you find yourself in conflict with your values? It is the times when you feel the most uncomfortable. I have Puneet Wadha backstage. He is a family man. If I ask him at 6 o'clock, Puneet, I am in Gurgaon, do you want a lift back home? He says, I am already home. He's that kind of a person. Now imagine if Puneet had to work at a place where there would be 70 hours weeks. He would not find himself comfortable. So for him, family is values. We have our presiding officer, Shaurendra Bhaumik. He was my mentor when I started out in Toastmasters, an unofficial mentor. For him, the value is helping people out. At least that is what I could glean of him. He is there whenever I need him. He is there whenever anyone needs him. From Mukesh Thakur, my division director last year, I learned the value of quality over quantity. He encouraged us to go for quality. He said quantity will take care of itself. So every one of us has a set of values that we live by. And the same goes for our first speaker, in fact our only speaker. Before I call him on stage, I would like to call his evaluator. His evaluator is a district champion. She was the district champion in the evaluation contest. She has something to do with income tax. I quite don't know yet. I have filed my returns, let me tell you that. When I asked her that what is the one value that you live by, the answer, without even blinking, and I could feel it because I was on the phone, it came without a blink, was honesty. With a loud round of applause, let us welcome Toastmaster Anusha Khurana to read out the speech of David. Toastmaster Anusha Khurana. Loud applause, please.
to all of you. The speaker has chosen P4 as the speech to be evaluated. The objectives as the speech are: select the right words and sentence structure to communicate your ideas clearly, accurately, and vividly. Rhetorical devices to enhance and emphasize ideas. Eliminate jargon and unnecessary words. Use correct pronunciation. And he's going to do it with aplomb, that I can guarantee. Over to the Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Anusha. So introducing our first and the only speaker of the day. He is a biotechnology engineer. He is a district humorous speech champion, where he gave the speech, the topic of which I don't quite remember, or maybe I don't want to remember. When I asked him what is the one value that he lives by, he says it's his ability to believe in himself. And we are definitely going to see that value on display as I welcome him on stage. Please welcome Toastmaster Vineet Maurya. Vineet Maurya, life is a joke. Life is a joke, Vineet Maurya.
Give me a cheer if you remember that life of an engineer in 4 years of his BTech is very similar to life of an undergrad. On 5th November 2017, I was sitting in the breakfast hall of the ITC Welcome Hotel, Dwarka. And in my mind, I was fighting a battle. So, that was not because of the humorous speech competition, but I was struggling to figure out that how do we eat a boiled egg. And since I was in a 5-star hotel, so I had this additional pressure of using a fork and a knife. And every time I tried using the fork, that would just roll over the plate and come back. You just roll over the plate and come back. Roll over the plate and come back. And another problem that I was facing was what to do with the eggshells. Should I keep it on the plate or on the table? On the plate or on the table? Since everyone around was so sophisticated. Well, I felt like I was a fish out of the pond. For those who don't understand fish out of the pond, I felt like Russia Bhutava Kasbe. And there was this man sitting just in front of me with this weird expression and he was observing me. And when I looked at him, I realized that I should have taken pasta instead of eggs. For sure he was judging me. But anyhow, that instant passed by and I ended up eating the egg with my hand. But later that evening, that same man came to me and said, Vineet, when I saw you for the first time, I thought that this man will go on stage and make a fool of himself. But here you are standing with that trophy. And to him I said, well sir, you know what? You are the only one who has got me right. Because I am a fool. I am a fool and my life is a joke. A very good morning everyone.
Good morning. Good morning.
When I look back at my life, I realize that my life through these 22 years has taught me different lessons that helped me write my jokes. And the only reason that I could learn these lessons was because I have been a fool through my life. And the first time I realized that I am a fool was in class 3rd. Well, I failed in class 3rd. And you really need to be a fool to fail in class 3rd. And when I failed in class 3rd, I could easily observe the change in behavior of people around me. My neighbors, my relatives, my friends, and even my parents. My parents got me into a cricket academy just because they thought I don't have any scope in studies. Well, I could easily observe all that. And accidentally in class 4, I got into theatre. And theatre taught me why to observe. Because for theatre, every person on this planet is a character. And behind every character, every expression, every gesture, every action that you take, there is a story behind it. And to get that story, we need to observe. So when I realized that I was a fool, I learned to observe. And second time when I realized that I was a fool was in class 6. Now in year 2006, on Teachers' Day, every student of my class was trying to impress our class teacher. No? Someone was singing, someone was dancing, someone was reciting a poem, and I was sitting there thinking, what should I do? So I decided that I will go on stage and I will make fool of myself. So I went on the stage and I said, well, I'm so glad that when I get angry, I don't get red, I get purple. Well, this joke might seem like a bad today, but that day the act went so well that my teacher told me that Vinny, from today onwards, you will come on stage and you will deliver a joke every day. And my journey for stand-up. Because every day I would copy a comedian, I would copy his act and I would present it as if it was my act. And my friends, they would get me jokes, all sorts of jokes, Hati jokes, Changu Mangu jokes, Santa Banda jokes, just to make sure that I was fully equipped to waste those 3 minutes of the class. And I would take all those jokes and transform, twist it as if they were my jokes. And in that process, I realized my style of comedy. So when I realized that I was a fool, I learned that I was good at something. That because of the JEE, I had to take a break from comedy. Well, I studied for JEE and got into college. After getting into college, I got a chance to visit to Mumbai in year 2014. And at that time, there was only one competition that would happen for students in terms of stand-up comedy. And that was at IIT Delhi. Well, lucky me, I got there and I won there also. Yeah, I know, good. That is what I told myself, that I am good. And that's where I made a fool of myself again. Because after doing professional stand for 2 years, I failed miserably. In year 2015, I was doing a stand-up act at Gyan Sagar University in Chandigarh. Well, I was booed out by 150 people from the stage. Booed out of the stage. And that day I realized that why should I do comedy? For me, comedy is not my way to become another Zakir Khan or Russell Peters. For me, comedy is my way of expression. Comedy is my escape route. Whenever something bad happens in life, I do a show. My frustration for engineering, I did a show. I even did a speech. You all know that, right? When I had my breakup, I went on the stage and I cried. And when I cried, I made sure that 400 people who were sitting in the auditorium were laughing at me when I stood there crying. When I got booed out at Gyan Sagar University, I made sure that next show, I make a killer of that show. It often happens in life that we take ourselves too seriously. We take ourselves so seriously that we forget that we all are seekers, trying to figure out answers to our questions. We forget that life is not about being good at comedy. It's about why you do comedy. It's not about being good at whatever you do. It's about being good at who we are. It's not about doing things that are certain to happen, but doing things that are uncertain. Failures, experiments, and what lessons you take from them. And to take those lessons, it's very important for us to be fools. So ladies and gentlemen, be fools. So that next time someone comes to you and says that, Vinny, when I saw you for the first time, I thought you will go on stage and make a fool of himself. You tell them that, sir, I'm a fool and my life is a joke. Over to you, Toastmasters.
Well, Vinny, if there's one thing that I can say about life, is not to take it seriously. Why? No one gets out of it alive. So when you say that life is a joke, I'm pretty sure that you are being really serious about it. Values. You know, when I was teaching values in one class, I asked my participants, what is the value that you stand for? And many of them were furtively searching for answers. Some of them came up with answers with aplomb. They knew what they stood for. Sometimes questions like these can put you in unfamiliar situations where you search for answers. And this is where Toastmasters can really help you. How? Table topics. This is where we put you in unfamiliar situations. I'm not going to put you in unfamiliar situations. Me being on stage is an unfamiliar situation too already. No, the person that I'm going to call on stage, he is also a DTM. He is a division director. In another district, he was the club growth director. And one of the best things that I heard about him was when our district director, Pallav Verma, met a colleague of this person. That colleague said, you know, send him back to Korea, we need him there. He works with Samsung and he is my division director. A club that I belong to falls in his division. He is the one who makes us look good in Division C, just like Mukesh made us look good in Division B last year. Please welcome, with a huge round of applause, DTM Sheikh Imtiaz Ali.
Good morning. Good morning. We disperse here and there. I cannot see apart from who is sitting there, so that I can bring back on the stage. Do you know that table topic is the most interesting and most fearful for Toastmasters meeting? Do you know that? Yes. I have experienced in my Toastmaster journey that bringing a guest in a table topic is the best way to make him a member. If you choose, it's true, if you choose a member who is little shy or maybe first or second time, choose him to speak on the stage, but not at the beginning. Maybe two, three speakers speak on the table topic and then ask him or her on the stage. I'm sure that person will feel so good by giving him a chance on the topic. As a table topic speaker, he will definitely become a member. At least he or she will express, why don't you make me a member of your club? So please use this technique. So today we will use, because it's ideal Toastmaster, we will use 3I technique, which is called imagination, interpretation and introduction. I will give you something which is unique, and I will put you in a position that you are a unique person. You have to either sell it, you have to introduce it, you have to invent it, you have to reinvent it, you have to state it through your 3I approach in the table topic session. Are you ready? Yes. Okay. Before I choose the speaker, it's very difficult to choose the speaker because I cannot see you properly, especially your nice face. Light is too much. So, can you raise your hand if your name starts with A? Your name starts with A. Please raise your hand. Please, more. Okay, I can see Ajay over there. Can you come on the stage? Give him a big round of applause. Ajay Mathur, please write down the first speaker. President of GCTC Club. So, you will be talking 1 to 2 minutes. May I have the next? So, Dr. Ajay Mathur invented Nuber recently for surgery. He is going to explain how he has invented and how he is using Nuber.
I'm not the doctor in the house, my wife is. But she's also not a surgeon, and I'm an engineer, so I thought I'll go ahead and try and help her. So usually what happens is, you get into a situation where you get a patient, and you want to go in and do an appendectomy. And when you open up the patient, you realize everything is wrong here. Not only is the appendix out of whack, thanks to a long history of drinking, even the liver is in bad shape. So, what do you do? I mean, you're just one doctor and you have a situation where you've got to multitask. That inspired the Nooper, because it has 5 tentacles, so at the same time you can take out 5 offending parts of the body and send the patient out as a whole. Thank you.
This is the imaginary things, but it exists in the real world. Can you go to the next slide? So it's a some kind of instrument used in hardware shop to grab the nails to weigh on the when customer is asking that give you 1 kilogram of nails, they just put it there and then make it a weight. So anybody in this audience name starts with F? F? G? Whose name starts with G, please raise your hand. And straight up. Would you please come on the stage? Give him a big round of applause. Gurpreet. So Gurpreet, come over here. Do you know who is Gurpreet? May I go to the next slide, please? Gurpreet, as a mechanical engineer from MIT, invented Gobbler. Gobbler. He is going to explain how he has invented and how you can use Gobbler in your real life. I think I need to be a juggler to use that Gobbler. So I am a mechanical engineer, and I was just wondering one fine day how to make good use of some woods that I have in the lab, in the hardware lab. So I just came up with this, some waste materials to tie this up, Gobbler. And it can be used as a musical instrument as well, as it has strings attached. And other purposes, I was just idling time. So one purpose was making it as a musical instrument as a string. It can be used to throw downstairs and get some materials. The people who live on the upper stories can get some objects from the vendors or the hawkers prime on the street. It can be used to because of the string, it can be used to grab the objects from the vendors. I think that's all. Thank you. Very nice, very nice. Mechanical engineer from MIT. So, gobbler is a trap. So it is used to lure the bird. So it has been using in a long time ago. I think it is from a museum. It has a lot of mirror on its ticket. So to reflect the light and to attract the bird, this is used as a trap. Okay. May I see the hands whose surname starts with S? S. Where I should stay? Why the mic is like that? Okay, S. S. Please raise hand like this. Okay, come over here. My dearest friend. Put. Yes. So he mistakenly came over the stage. His first name starts with S. So that's why I was looking, how come his surname starts with S? So Sahid has been a very active Toastmaster and also area director. Sahid has been using in his kitchen this tapoter. And tapoter, as a chef, he has been using last 10 years. As a chef, he has been using tapoter last 10 years. Sahid.
I will talk about the Iron Age. This was during the period of David and Goliath, something when iron was just being invented. At that time, people were not very concerned with hygiene, but actually there were some bakeries and they had toast there. Now what do you do with toast? You have that bread and then you toast it. But in the Iron Age, you had only fire and you were still developing iron. We did not know what to do with it. So I decided to give some hygiene to the bread that we were toasting on fire. And I invented this tapoter. What does it do? You hold a long needle kind of thing in your hand. I am using the needle kind of thing because at that time we didn't even know what we were doing while we were inventing things. You used to toast the bread on that open fire. And then how do you eat it? You can't eat it like this. You need to be more decent like, gentleman like. You need to put it on some tapoter so that you can offer it to people like Toastmaster Jennifer, Toastmaster Prashant, and of course the very serious looking Toastmaster Deepak. This is the way of presenting toast on a tapoter. This is what my invention is, and this is what a chef can do for people in the Iron Age. Thank you. Over to you.
Give him a big round of applause. Everyone, may I have the next slide? May I have the next slide, please? Exactly what he told it is used for as a toaster. May I have the next slide, please? Next slide, please. No, not this one, the before one. This is used as a fireplace, as a toaster. So he was absolutely right that what was the question. His imagination is very nice. May I have your hands raise up whose name starts with D? D. D for toast. D. Okay. Please come over stage. Give him a big round of applause, Deepak. Deepak K. Sarma, please write down the name. May I have the next slide, please? As a sales director of company Glopsy, he has invented this amazing instrument. I don't know what is his use and how he is going to give a sales speech on this. As a sales director,
myself Deepak Sharma, and I am the sales director for this company XYZ Limited. And we have invented this beautiful piece for people who are staying in deep villages. I went to a village recently called Kavartha. There was huge wires going above that village. But these people have no idea what exactly these wires are. They have no idea what is electricity. And when we went into that village, we told them, we will give you something very special, which the bottom part can fill with biofuels. And that biofuels can come from their own fields where they can get those seeds of jatropha and crush those seeds and create oil out of it and then put that oil in the bottom part, and there's a small area where you can put a beautiful this needle which can give them light, and they can build, they can carry on their shopping in the evening, they can carry on take out cow milk at 5 o'clock in the morning, they can sustain a lot of things in the village which will increase their income in the process, and children can study, they don't have to sit and in front of those kerosene oil which really burns their eyes. So this is a very special product for this village Kavartha in Chhattisgarh, and we are going to give them at a very concessionary rate, and we have contacted many NGOs and many international organizations to help us in this subsidizing this product so that villagers can buy it for 5 rupees, 10 rupees or maximum 15 rupees. I urge all of you to contribute towards this product, because we are going to do some social work for this country where people have no idea what electricity is, and you will get to benefit out of this. People will get benefit out of this. Thank you so much.
thank you, Deepak. May I have the next slide, please? This is the safety lamp invented by Humphrey Davy. So this is the original version kept in a museum, and the photo was taken from that. So to need to have the gender balance, I would like to invite Emilia on the stage. Those who are using handphone, please keep that handphone in your pocket and use for a big round of applause. May we have the next slide, please? Yes. She has been using Timbuktu for her home. For her home, she is using Timbuktu, but I don't know how you are using it.
Hello all. I am Amelia, and I have invented this. Have I invented this one? I'm using it. It was just passed on from my grandma, great-grandma to me. And this is what I found. What can I use it for? It's not about, I use it to just put my forks and ladles and spoons in it and put it on the table. It's the center of attraction on my dining table, because when people start asking my guests, the visitors at my place, they ask me, where did you get this from? Is it from Sarojini Market? I said, no. I got it from my grandmother. Then another friend came, oh wow, it's a heritage piece. Must be very expensive. I said, yes, it is. And why do you use it only for forks and spoons? I said, that's the only use I can make out of it. Otherwise, not good at all. But this is a special memory from my grandmother, so yes, I put it right in front of my eyes so that I remember that there is something that's coming on from generations to me. That's how I use it, and I cherish it, and I love it every day. Thank you.
So I will, by the way, the name is just given by me. So it's a shock absorber. It has been used to carry the heavy materials. It's a kind of spring. So it is used as a shock absorber. So for the next person, I need a volunteer who wants to come over here. Please come. The hand was the swift. Give her a big round of applause. Khushbu has been, she has some secret. I want to, yes. She has a secret, she is a Wonder Woman. And recently, can I have the next slide please? She has been faced an anaconda attack on a bus. And as a superwoman, Khushbu, how did she save the life of the bus driver as well as the passenger? We will be hearing in 1 to 2 minutes.
It was a normal day. I was just going towards my office, driving in my car. And I suddenly saw a long, huge, squishy, squeaky, animal-type object moving towards a child. And I wondered, what's going to happen next? And then it rose up like a giant monster. All I could do was tell him, go there. And he listened to me. That monster understood me. Maybe he was also a Toastmaster at an ancient land. He told me that he found us, all of us, and he is in search of us. And I told him, okay, just don't touch the child. And now, he gave me a power. The power is that we can get up early in the morning on Sunday. And we can all be together here because we want to talk. And that power is here in all of us. All of us would do that through that power, which is coming from us within. And that object is with us. If you see deep down, you will see that power. That power of a python, that power of a lion. And yes, this invention is not by me. This invention is what comes from within. The power within which makes us keep moving ahead. And no, I'm not the only Wonder Woman here. We are all wonderful people. We are all strong people. And we have the power of inventing a lot of things, what we have seen today, and a lot of things that we cannot even think of. Let's move ahead with this power. Let's keep walking forward. We may save a child. We may talk about a new future. Thank you. Over to the talk.
May I have the next slide, please? Yes. This is a creative ad. This is for the Copenhagen Zoo. They have used for a creative ad. So timer, I'm up. Okay. I wish I could continue with many more creative things. So I urge you to be more creative in your club, not to do the, oh, what is the best time in your life? What is the worst time in your life? When was your birthday? What do you do in your Christmas day? What do you do in the New Year? But think something out of the box. You try to think that how you can be more creative as a tabletop masters and how you can involve other people to take the best of them on the stage. And I assure you, your words, your activity will never be forgotten. So, I would like to give my control back to today's Toastmasters, DTM Rupinder.
Can we change the slide, please? That is the scary thing at my back. I mean, that thing could wrap around me. Yes. Thank you, DDM Imtiaz. Typically, in a Toastmasters meeting, we ask the audience to vote for the best table topic speaker. We also ask them to vote for the best speaker. But given that today we had only one speaker, we have to consider him the best speaker. Can we have a loud round of applause for everybody who spoke on stage today? Integrity, respect, service, excellence. When Nimish read out the rules of the meeting, did you or did you not see these 4 values there? When he asked you that everyone, please keep your phones on silent, that was a test of your integrity. Because if your phone rang, you probably have to work on your integrity. It is also respect. Because you are respecting the person on stage and you're willing to put aside your phone for that person. It is also service. It is also being service-minded. Because the person is giving you a service and you want to give that service back to that person by listening to that person. And in the end, it is excellence. Just as every speaker comes here on this stage to be excellent, it is our duty as an audience to be excellent. I've been talking a lot about integrity. It's because the next person that I'm going to call on stage, when I asked her, I said, what is the one thing that you value the most? Within the blink of the eye came the answer. Integrity. She said, I choose integrity because it defines every other value. If you have integrity, respect will automatically follow. Service-mindedness will automatically follow, and excellent will be a byproduct. Do you know who's the person who said this to me? Jennifer is hell-bent on getting things right with aplomb today. Yes, it is our general evaluator, DTM Punita Singh, and it is my pleasure to call her back on stage. Loud applause, please. A few hoots also.
That was a little microcosm of a Toastmasters meeting. But what a thrilling event it's been already. So we've had one prepared speech, which has been evaluated by Anusha, and then this wonderful this table topic session. So let's begin this evaluation session by getting feedback from our speech evaluator as well as our supplementary evaluators. I'd like to invite Anusha to present her evaluation of Suresh Maurya's speech.
Self-deprecatory humor. How easily does it come to any one of us? Life is a joke and I am a fool. How many of us are able to say it with so much aplomb? Vinny, of course, did it beautifully. What else did he do that came and struck us straight on dot? He had to give a rhetorical speech in which he had to repeat what he was saying. He had the courage to have a motivational speech, which is very difficult to get in rhetoric, because you have to go on repeating the same message. How many times? And in how many ways can I say, be good, be nice, be sweet? It's a difficult task, but he did it well. The third factor which I felt which went in Vinny's favor was that he was able to connect the rubric of the speech in a very sequential fashion. He talked to class 3, then he talked to class 6, and he went on in his life sequence of events to bind it together into a case told in psychology, a wholesome whole. What did he do which he could have done better? Very difficult to say. But having been given the opportunity, I would venture into that difficult zone. I feel there could have been a zappier beginning. This was rhetoric. He talked of the underwear, but he cut it short and he went on to the egg which went round and round on the plate. That either should have been highlighted, or the underwear should have come to the forefront, because life is a joke, what he was talking about. Suggestion number 2 for the speaker, which I felt he could have done. The aim of this speech was rhetoric. Now, rhetoric means repeat your message, but it doesn't mean that you have to go in a sequence. It means you can pick up different threads of your life and you can talk about it together. You can talk of childhood, you can talk of adulthood, you can talk of the beautiful chase of the damsel in distress whom you wanted to be your beau. He's done it at other times. He could have done it today. The third factor which I have to recommend here is, in a rhetorical speech, the message should not come too early. It came a little too early. Rhetoric was shortened down. But he had everything it takes. He had a pleasant disposition. He was able to repeat the message of life is a joke. He was able to get a motivational idea into his speech. If he had only stretched the rhetoric a little more, and if he had bottomed the message a little later, he would have registered beautifully. But at the end, he left us with a beautiful message. Be what you are, because no one can be you more than yourself. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Does everyone understand now why she is the champion evaluator? Yes. I think that was really manifested in the very wholesome, holistic evaluation that she gave Vineet. Vineet's speech, she's our humor champ. I felt was a little bit compromised by the poor quality of the audio. There was a bit of distortion on the microphone, and that, I think, came in the way of a full, hearty reception by the audience. Because there was a lot of humor that got a little curtailed by that clipping of the sounds in his speech. Our evaluator did not allude to that, which is very graceful of her, because that was evidently not something in his own control. But we can sometimes check out things like audio and also figure out how to use these devices so that they help us and don't impair what we are here to do. So usually in a real Toastmasters meeting, we save our evaluations of the evaluators until all the evaluators have presented their evaluation, because we usually vote for the best evaluator and we don't want to bias that vote. But since we only have the one speech and the one evaluation today, let me also add a few points to what I perceived, both for the speaker and for the evaluator. Vineet, I thought, has a wonderful way with words, and so his choice of Project 4 from the Competent Communicator Manual, which is all about using words. It was very apt for the topic that he chose, and he had a lot of scope to play with words, and he did that impeccably. Some of that humor, in fact, rhetorical doesn't mean only repetition. It also means using rhetorical devices, of which there are many. Things like metaphors, things like similes, things like triples, things like analogies, and of course repetition enforces that, and rhythm and cadence. So all of those are rhetorical devices that we are encouraged to use when we present a Project 4 speech. And I thought that Vineet did this beautifully. Whether it was that vivid description of the fork in the egg, and he repeated it 3 times. So there was in there already like a vivid image painted for us. You could almost imagine that wobbly egg floating around on the table. So he took us on that journey with him to all of these little anecdotes that he narrated. From being a kid, from discovering that he did something very well, which was playing the fool, and then how he learned to use that to his advantage by trying out stand-up and making people laugh with him, even people who were crying, making them laugh with him and changing sorrow into joy. So that's a great power that a speaker can have of modulating the emotions of the audience. And I thought that Vineet had demonstrated that power. He has that power, and he demonstrated it. My only wish is that I wish he had checked out that audio before, so that the clarity of his words was not obscured by that distorting mic. Other than that, I think our evaluator Nusha has already given him some wonderful suggestions. So Anusha followed the approach that we recommend, which is to give some commendations, find what the speaker did really well, then fit in some suggestions, some recommendations, which he did really well, and then bring it to closure with another pat on the back to leave the speaker feeling elated and motivated. So she did that very well indeed. She had some concrete suggestions. It's always nice to have some concrete suggestions. She talked about not getting the message in too early, because sometimes you do want to save the message and bring it up with a punch. In business communication, sometimes you like to have it up top, but in other types of communication, you might want to save it where it has the most impact. So I thought that was a great piece of advice that she gave. And also the way she structured her evaluation was very well done. Just one suggestion for the evaluator. I know in some of the evaluation contests, we always talk about a conclusion and that you need to have a summary and structure your own evaluation like a speech. And Anusha did that effectively. There's this one pitfall that a lot of evaluators fall into, which is that when they are summarizing, they again list the commendations first and then the recommendations, which ends up leaving the entire evaluation again on a bit of a low note. So I would suggest that instead of doing that, in the summary section, reiterate the recommendations first and then bring back the commendations so that you really contour your evaluation and bring it to a high ending so that the speaker feels validated and motivated, which is what we intend to do in a Toastmasters evaluation. So both these things were very well done, the speech, the evaluation, and now we also have reports from our supplementary evaluators who've been keeping a watch on timing, fillers, and language. So let me invite Jennifer to give her report as the time. We didn't get into an evaluation of the table topic session. Should we do that after you've given your report? Okay, fine. Yeah. All right. So the table topic session, which is our impromptu speech session, we had 6 speakers today. And it was conducted by Imtiaz, who's a doctor by training, a researcher, and very high-flying research he does on medicine and cognition and so on. And when I saw that 3-eye slide up there, I really felt like adding that 4th eye for Imtiaz, because it was so well done. I didn't know what to expect when it said over there, imagination, invention, introduction. And I was wondering, like, it already piqued your curiosity, that what's in store, what's in store. So I thought that was really well done, that he piqued our curiosity, got us all in a state of anticipation. And then when he called the first speaker, he did that also in such a creative way, by asking for the initials of names and then calling people up like that. So creativity was manifested at every step of the way in the table topic session. And then this first speaker comes up and is suddenly shown this weird slide of a looper. And Ajay Mathur, I thought, did a fantastic job with that looper. He didn't even bat an eyelid. He just jumped right in and went on with how this weird claw-shaped thing could be used for multitasking in medicine. Super job done by Ajay Mathur. Then the second one by Gurpreet. So the letter G was called up and the object also began with a G. The goobler. And Gurpreet came up with creative uses for that as well. Suspending it down to grab things from a vendor, using it like a musical instrument. So again, the creativity of the topic evoked creativity in the speaker and forced them to think a little bit differently and not take the object so literally. So that was very well done indeed. The third speaker was Shahid, and Shahid mistook his first name for his last name and showed up for the letter S. But then what a super job he did with that tapoter. In fact, he identified the correct use for that tapoter, which is to toast bread in a fire. And then he linked it to us as Toastmasters. So there was a bit of wordplay there as well. So again, really, I was amazed at the fluidity with which Shahid jumped into that topic. Following Shahid, we had Deepak. And Deepak was given an object where the name was not evident, but he was supposed to be representing this company, Glossy, I think. And there was this weird object there, the Davies lamp. And I think Deepak also sort of linked it to its actual use. which is that it could be used as an electric device in places where they don't have electricity. So a very enlightening topic presented by Deepak. And then we had Amelia. She was itching to be a table topic speaker, which is so wonderful in a community of Toastmasters. Everyone wants to talk. And she was given this Timbuktu. I was wondering whether she's going to take a Timbuktu approach to it. But I think she was a bit befuddled by what this weird object should be used for. But she put an interesting spin on it anyway, linking it to legacy and grandparents and so on, and to revering it from that perspective, even if it didn't serve much of a purpose otherwise. So cleverly put together by Amelia. And then finally, we had a very motivational table topic by Khushbu. And Khushbu was given this Pythonix, this scary-looking snake wrapped around a bus. And it just evoked fear in everyone who saw that image. But she turned it around and made a motivational speech out of it. And really told us to do our best in life. And I thought like, wow, what a twisted way, no pun on the snake, to bring us to this larger mission and vision that we can have. And of belief in ourselves and so on. So I thought that Khushbu has all the makings of being a motivational speaker. And then to wrap it all up, we had Imtiaz back. And he identified what all of these objects were, in fact, and encouraged us, left us with a big message, which is to try out this sort of creativity in our own clubs, in our own table topic sessions, to not just have regular dull topics that sometimes we're at a loss to even find what to speak on, but to think a little bit creatively, to use images, to use words, and kindle the imagination, kindle inventivity, and kindle ways of introducing those topics. So imagination, invention, introduction, Imtiaz. Very well done.
Right, I'm back again and I hope you're enjoying the session. Fabulous. Well, when I was giving my role as a timer, I forgot to mention that there are certain things I need to also capture in terms of the speech. If it's a speech for 5 to 7 minutes, the timer also gets, the speaker also gets a 30 minutes grace period above and below. 30 seconds, sorry. And for even the evaluator, she also gets 30 seconds on the higher and the lower side. But table topics, they only get on the higher side, they don't get on the lower side. So, I have my report for the G today and for the members of our audience. Vineet took 5 minutes, 52 seconds for his speech. Anuksha, as the evaluator, took 3 minutes and 14 seconds for her evaluation. And we had 6 table topics today. Ajay Mathur took 1 minute and 17 seconds. Gurpreet took 1 minute and 12 seconds. Shayad took 1 minute and 42 seconds. Deepak Sharma took 2 minutes and 09 seconds. Amelia took 1 minute and 35 seconds. And Khushbu took 2 minutes and 08 seconds. All the best.
Thank you, Jennifer. Being a timer prompts the ability to really monitor time and also promotes timekeeping skills in the speakers. So that's a great thing that we have at Toastmasters, which keeps us on track. Now may I invite Hani Khanduja to present the R Counters report.
Thank you, General Evaluator. Today probably was the first meeting where I was wishing that I should have been the timer or a grammarian, because typically it was an ideal meeting and everyone played their ideal role with almost no R's. I have very little to say. To begin with, Nimish, Joseph, Surinder, Rupinder and our General Evaluator Punita Singh, we had no R's, no arms and no filler words obviously. Starting from then we have our role players, Sandeep and Jennifer, and Imtiaz Ali as a table topic master. Again, there were only short pauses which were intentional and intentional to their speeches and well groomed with their roles. Vineet as a speaker has just 1 hour and no filler words, a wonderful speech. Starting from the table topic section, we had Ajay Mathur with only 1 hour, Gurpreet, 1 long pause and 6 hours, Shahid, 0 short pauses or long pauses but just 1 hour, Deepak Sharma is the table topic speaker with 1 short pause and 1 repetition word, that's and. Amelia, 3 hours, 1 short pause and 1 filler word and. Khushbu with 2 hours, no pauses and no filler words. And Anushka Khurana with 1 hour and 2 filler words, but probably they were just a part of repetition intentionally. They were but and rhetorical. That's the report from an hour counter who tried to be her best, keeping a tab on hours and hours, but unfortunately couldn't find many. Thank you so much for being a wonderful role player at your speeches, for helping me out with so less number of hours. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Fillers are very sneaky. Sometimes they can be actual words serving no purpose, like the probablys and the actuallys and so on. So it's again a real listening skill to be the hour counter and catch those kinds of fillers and pauses. Now let me invite Sandeep to present the grammarian's report.
Good morning once again, and I'm sailing in the same boat as Honey is, because this was a grammarian nightmare if you talk about finding some mistakes there. So there are literally nothing, there are some very few mistakes committed by the table topic speakers, but those were generally like past tense and present, and I don't want to go into detail into that. Very few, there are only 2 pronunciations which were done incorrectly, like relative was pronounced as relative, and power sounded like power. So those were the only 2 things, and Razia Gundo mein phas gayi. I don't know, I'm not very fastidious about uses of Hindi language, but probably it could be done, it could be translated, but then I also feel that probably the comic element would have lost, but it is fine. But some of the nice words, this was grammarian delight in that sense, because there was some very nice usage of words that we have seen today in today's meeting. Like Rupinder used the word, of course, that phrase which we often use in Toastmasters, that feedback is the breakfast of the champion, and he turned it around saying it, breakfast is the feedback of the champion, to evoke some laughter from the audience. Furtively was a very nice word used by Rupinder. Anusha also used some very nice words, self-deprecating humor, damsel in distress, pleasant disposition. And of course, the champion of the day was of course our general evaluator here. And she was like, as if you are reading a GRE book. You know, there's so many words which came out of it. Like trepidation, microcosm, curtailed, elude, impaired, impeccable, credence, wobbly, modulating the emotion of the audience, validated, itching to be a speaker, evoked fear, manifested, and they're wonderful. Now, let me tell you some mistakes that the general evaluator did today. And who am I kidding? Yeah. Of course, they were telling. And aplomb, the word of the day, aplomb, was used 7 times by 3 different speakers. So a pat on my back also, because I gave a word which everybody could use. And that's all from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sandeep, for injecting humor into the grammar report as well. This word aplomb, this wonderful word that Sandeep gave us today, I'm always interested in etymology, the origins of words. So I was trying to think, what is it? Aplomb. Plomb is lead, right? So then I did cross-check. I said this word is related to lead in some way. And sure enough, it's related to a plumb line or a piece of lead that keeps you straight. And so the word aplomb comes from that you carry yourself in such poise, that you are so erect and so straightforward and so confident that you deliver something with aplomb. So that's the origin of that word. And thank you for giving it to us. I'm sure we'll all be using it now. It's become integrated with our vocabulary. So time is running out, but I do need to give feedback to some of the other role players today. We began this Toastmasters meeting with our Sergeant at Arms, a role played impeccably by Nimish Joseph. And I applaud him for reiterating the mission of the Toastmasters Club, because even though we all know it, I think reminders are always good to keep us on track. Especially words like mutually supportive environment, because that's what we try to create. A space that's nurturing, that's conducive and that's a place where people don't feel fear or judgment. And so I think those are critical words to be reminded of at the start of a Toastmasters meeting, and our Sadhguru did that. His mic was also distorting, so I would suggest that before a meeting like this, check out some of the gear to make sure that these kinds of aids are aiding and not impairing. Then we had also a presiding officer, Surendra Bhaumik, and he also referred to what had happened prior to this meeting. He referred to Sinjini's speech and had a lot of little linking anecdotes, and he referred to Mukesh Thakur, who's put this whole program together. So that was nice that he was able to bring that sort of presidential air to this meeting, because we do have a presidential address at the beginning of every Toastmasters meeting as well. Then came the star of the show, the Toastmaster of the day. At every Toastmasters meeting, this role is played by a volunteer who then gets the skills of moderating a meeting, of presenting people, of making introductions, of leading transitions to link the different sections of the meeting together and bringing it all to a wrap at the end. And keeping the audience engaged through all of these little interjections. And were you engaged by a Toastmaster of the day? Yes. Right from the beginning. He always amazes me, either with his choice of words or with his fearlessness in trying out things, including doing sit-ups on a stage. I mean, I would never be able to do a thing like that. And our Toastmaster of the day, Rupinder, just goes for it. He just jumps in and tries out things. And so I really applaud him for this ability. And he is able to carry it off with aplomb. So lots of great vocabulary, lots of great transitional phrases, a lot of research and homework went into the way he played this role today. In terms of feedback for the future, I would say that if you're not going to remember the topic of a speech by a champion speaker or what our evaluator does for a living, then don't even get into that space. One could have just not referred to that instead of starting out saying it and then saying, oops, I forgot what the topic was, or I forget what exactly she does. Because then it becomes a little embarrassing for you yourself and also for the person you are aiming to introduce. So one could have done without that little fumble. But other than that, I thought it was flawless. I thought everything else was just super and very energetic and energizing. So with that, back to our energetic Toastmaster of the day, Rupinder Singh.
Let me tell you, probably the most energetic thing that I have done all day today was running up those stairs. Thank you so much for being a patient audience. Thank you so much for listening to us. The aim of today was to provide you with an ideal Toastmasters meeting, how it should go. And I hope you've learned something. More importantly, I hope you've learned the importance of values. See, when I was growing up, I was fortunate enough to grow up in a joint family. I learned all of my values, respect for elders, integrity, honesty, at home. And perhaps that is the best place to learn values. Today, we are living in a system where it is falling upon the schools and the colleges to teach values. And Toastmasters perhaps is the only institution that is left that practices values in the way it carries about its business. Whether it is calling someone on stage, whether it is coming here and presenting, whether it is coming here and speaking about your worst possible fears. I leave you with something to ponder upon. That if you want your child to grow up, make your child a person of value. Because once your child becomes a person of value, everything else, success, wealth, will automatically follow. With that, I will call back on stage our presiding officer, DTM Surendra Bhaumik. Can I have some boots from him for him? Particularly from the ladies. Your wish is granted, sir.
Lady Toastmasters, I really want you to please participate more, because I believe it is you who can change this whole fraternity of Toastmasters. As a foot soldier in this fraternity, I strongly believe that you have made a lot of difference. And we men need to be guided just like the mothers who have always been the guide for us. I strongly believe it, and it comes from the core of my heart. The fact that today all of you have found time to come and spend time with all of us shows that you have all had the one single thing which is there in your hearts, and that is you have this fraternity growth so that we all are successful. Each one of you, when you look at yourself, will know that Toastmasters has been a major influence in our success in life. And I wish all of you further success and keep this fraternity going. Thank you so much for having come today, and each and every one of you, I would like to thank you on behalf of the district and look forward to meeting you in similar sessions in the future. Thank you so much, each one of you. Thank you.
How was the meeting? Was an ideal meeting? Brilliant, brilliant. Thank you so much all the participants.